hurt. John just shot our bakery idea down.
I did, yeah.
We should leave this part in if you started recording.
I didn't. I got like the last time.
Damn it, John.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Sounds awful, you screwing with that.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, that's what she said. That wasn't funny.
Probably sounds awful. Well, actually, probably.
No, that one I sent you earlier was good, though. David was being dumb. And
I sent gifts of muffins.
He sent gifts of muffins.
With
and
eyes.
I said, I guess
I think I can get this.
what did I say? Set myself up for that?
Speaking of muffins.
Nevertheless, I'm not enjoying it. That's what she said.
Anna said that y'all can have some of those muffins she made. Probably not a great idea to eat them while we're recording, but
probably true.
I sent her this gif, this horrifying gif.
I've seen that. I know where that's from.
I don't know what it's from. I don't remember. She said "son of a muffin," so I looked for muffin gifs.
Well, then I replied and I was like, "Well, I guess I set myself. What did I say?
I set myself up for the best. Nevertheless, I'm not enjoying it." That's what she said.
Come on, that was a good one.
It was good.
I mean, I engineered it just to be what it is, but
half of our text conversations are just "that's what she said."
That's
okay.
Yeah.
This is jank, but it works.
The other half
she said.
is us being really nice to each other. We're very nice to each other.
Recognize that it was
I did.
That is true, though. The other half of it is being really nice to each other.
We're very nice to each other.
Except when we're mean. Which there are those off days. Those happen.
I'm gonna have to do
today is one of those. I've been very
on
mean.
this quality.
What?
Can you talk real quick?
No, I'm a mute. Ag.
Okay, now Zion, can you talk?
When I was in Slovakia and they told me to test out a mic in the middle of the town square, and Melinda, couldn't think of what to say, so Melinda asked me, "What did I dream about last night?" And I told her in the middle of a city and to a loud microphone that I dreamed that Destiny died.
You had a stroke halfway through that story. You're like, no, that Destiny died.
Stop making fun of me.
That's what this entire podcast is going to be. We're just going to be really mean to you.
This may be more work.
We planned ahead of time and we're just going to bully you.
I'm going to pull a Jake Paul and say, just stop bullying. Stop cyberbullying.
What
Stop
kid?
bullying.
Yeah.
Come on, Cody.
You're a cyberbully, okay?
I am a cyberbully. That's why I started this podcast to be a cyberbully.
Okay.
Okay.
I think, the quality of this microphone's way different, so I sound much more bassy than you guys.
Bassy.
But I think it will just have to do.
Sean's all
about that bass.
About that bass. No.
Okay. Welcome back to This Is a Terrible Place to Live.
I'm David. Shut up, John. Ha ha. Inside jokes.
I'm John, and we have
Shut up, John.
we have our guest.
Musical guest. Zion.
Musical guest.
You have to
Zion
sing
early.
the entire time. Nothing you say.
This could be like off book, the improvised musical podcast. Y'all need to listen to that.
Podcast.
That is something we like to talk about, our favorite podcast.
The improvised musical podcast. I haven't even listened to it that much, but it's good.
Yeah.
So this episode is really mostly devoted to Stranger Things Season 3.
That's fair.
Roundtable discussion.
And berating Zion.
There's no roundtable.
It's a
present.
hexagon. Isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So anyway.
Featuring John's neighbors walking above us.
Yep.
That was them. It wasn't that funny.
That's so dumb.
I'm going to feel so much funnier this entire episode.
So Zion, you should give us your credentials as to why you are on this Stranger Things discussion.
Oh, because I love Stranger Things, so I'm obsessed. And I, for a period of time, had a Stranger Things Instagram fan account. Thank you very much.
Specifically Millie Bobby Brown, though.
Well, no, it was first. I don't remember what it was first, but it was Millie Bobby Brown.
It was Millie Bobby Brown first.
How did you know?
John found it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that he found it. And I blocked. Did I block you? I thought I blocked you.
Yeah, you
when I had it, because I was like, I don't want anyone to know.
I knew.
It was embarrassing.
Because he told me.
But it's gone now, so.
Yeah, you removed me.
I said,
when I followed it.
I said, you don't belong in this odd corner of my life.
So anyway, but we did talk about possibly live streaming at one point on your Instagram to talk about season 2 trailer.
Oh yeah.
But then we never did. And I
because after a short time, granted this doesn't compare to like a lot of Instagram, but it had like, I don't even remember, several thousand followers, and I was like, this is too much. It's just too much going on. Yes.
Weird.
It got really
I thought I told you
big
about
for
that.
a while. Didn't
I didn't realize how big it was.
Didn't Millie Bobby Brown like one of your posts at one point?
I don't remember if she did, but I think
Mike
Caleb did and
Finn.
Gayton did. Maybe Finn too, but I don't remember.
That's cool.
Now I sound like a really like major creeper, or like a major like, but I am, so it's fine. I would be okay if Finn Wolfhard married me.
When I introduce people to Zion, I say, this is my friend Zion. She's the best. She's also a major creeper.
Well, at least you don't do the thing that some people do when they introduce themselves and like, I'm homeschooled, or I was homeschooled. And I'm like, why do you put that in your...
Recently, I've decided to make drive-thrus the most awkward thing. I already did that. But like...
Yeah, I was kind of like, you're already pretty...
I've made it so much funnier though, because
every time Colette would say, you don't have to try, you just do.
Every time I get up to the mic at the drive-thru, I start with, hi, my name's Taylor, what's yours? And it's so funny. Today I went to Taco Bell and I said, hi, my name's Taylor, what's your name? Also, what's your favorite color? And then he was like, green? And I was like, mine's blue. And then he was like, okay. And then he didn't even ask me anything until eventually I was like, yeah, I'll have Cinnabons. It was great. It was wonderful. Because then when you get to the window, they're like looking at you.
Who the
like,
hell?
What's this guy's deal? Like, is he high? Is he
unstable?
Mentally challenged?
Is he like literally 5? Is there a 5-year-old driving this car?
Yeah, it's very entertaining though.
Because like a 5-year-old would do that. They drive up, hypothetically, 5-year-old driving, and they're like, "Hi, what's your favorite color?" But then you would have to do it in a child's voice in that situation.
It throws off the rhythm of the entire interaction, and it's great.
I hated people like you when I worked in fast food. Although I did at one point at Wendy's, I answered the drive-thru by saying, "Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?" People never answered it. They just gave me their order.
They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
No, I've justified it. I've thought, at least it's an interesting story for them to tell their friends.
That's
and
fair.
They're in this mind-numbing shift. Something interesting happened now.
I don't know how I would feel. Well, okay, the one thing that I still do not, both having been on both sides of like working in like a retail like customer service job.
Yeah.
That I do not like at all, that really makes me uncomfortable, is when people try to use the kind of comedy that's like, you walk in as a customer, you're like, hey, do y'all have a bathroom? And they're like, oh, nope, sorry, we don't have one. That stresses me the frick out. Like, I wish people wouldn't do that, because I know they're joking, sort of, but the other part of me is like, I don't know what to do here, and it stresses me out. It makes me uncomfortable. And this sounds really like obnoxious, but when you work in that sort of job, part of your job is trying to make sure that the customers there are at least on some level comfortable and not just uncomfortable, and that makes me uncomfortable.
I got really confused there. I thought you were saying the customer comes in and they ask if you have a bathroom, and then they say, no, we don't have one. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I got a little bit confused there too. But...
Well, like, example, I walked into a Starbucks and there were people in there, it was in the middle of the day. I walked in, the barista behind the counter said, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're closed. So I turned around to walk out the door, and he was like, are you serious? And I was like,
yes.
You said you were, You said you were closed.
I only do things like that when Josh comes to visit me at work.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he can take it.
And he thinks it's funny too. So
yeah, I don't understand him. I don't always understand. I understand you more than I understand him, which is interesting. Yeah, but it makes sense. I get it. No, but that. Anyway, so Stranger Things.
Yes, I was gonna try and tie it into Scoops Ahoy or somehow to be like customer service, but I couldn't figure out an end.
Hey, I was being entertaining, John. So was Zion. Yeah. Oh well, kind of.
Hey, I didn't cut it off. Zion did. Not my fault.
I don't know if I was being entertaining.
Not my fault.
Okay. Thoughts.
Questions, comments, gripes, concerns.
No,
what are your thoughts overall?
Go.
I thought it was amazing. Work of a television masterpiece, honestly.
Okay, actually, I had a more specific question.
Oh,
Can we start by rating the seasons as favorites? Which seasons are our favorite?
I can do that. I know
mine.
Easily.
Mine is 1, 2, 3.
No. 1 is your most favorite?
1 is my most favorite. 2 is second. 3 is least.
Mine's 1, 3, 2. 1's the best one, obviously.
I would probably. I don't even know. I'm not one to like. I don't. Not even that I don't like it, but I'm not. That's not usually like the thing that goes through my head when there's a new season of a show I enjoy. Like I don't really think about it, but I really did like this newest season. And it's your least favorite?
It's my least favorite.
But did you still like it?
I did like it. Yes.
Okay.
I should. Yes. No, I should say that. Yeah, I did like the season. It wasn't my favorite.
I enjoyed it. Just for the record, that my shoe made a sound on the.
I'm not even sure it got picked up.
It probably didn't, but I just want to clarify that was not a fart. It was my shoe.
I think it got picked up on my mic.
Just everyone listening, you should know that Zion farted and she's covered.
I did not.
To all the Bobby out there listening.
To all the Bobby / sometimes Miriam.
Miriam, when you were talking, David, about it, and you were like, yeah, the only people that really listen are you and Bobby. She thought you were talking about Bobby, other Bobby, girl Bobby.
Oh.
And she was like, what? And I first was like, I did
too,
and I was like, that's very odd, really weird.
I don't know if she knows this exists.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Anyway, so this newest season might be my favorite, but I don't know. It may be because this is the newest one, and like this is the one I've watched the least.
out of the 3, is 2 your least favorite, or is 1? Like, can you rank them like that? 2 is
probably my least favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Probably, but I like them all. You know,
that's fair. That's fair.
I'll say why. This season was better than season 2 because of all the Russian stuff. That was cool.
It was fun.
Yeah.
John does not think so.
John hates Russians. John's racist.
Hates the Russians. He hates them.
No, I felt like this. So the way I explained it to someone that I was talking to the other day was that I feel like if we're relating this back to media that we've seen before, it's like in Star Wars how Episode 4 they blow up the Death Star, and then Episode 5 spoilers for Stranger Things and now Star Wars. FYI.
Spoiler alert.
Probably for the rest of the episode.
David looks like he's getting attacked by his microphone.
What? No, that's not happening. They're lying to you.
David just took off his shirt. David just took off his hat.
This has gone
David just took off his mask.
Off.
He's a woman.
Actually, I'm the president.
Why are they masturbating in front of me?
David! God, way more inappropriate than it needs to be.
Gosh.
Gosh, who are you?
What the fuck?
Okay, I didn't even get into full nudity. I just got into shirtless and you're a woman. Okay. We have to get back on track.
Okay, hold on. Can you talk a second? I don't...
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm here.
Okay.
Psych, none of this recorded.
No, if we're relating this to like Star Wars, say, like Episode 4 they blow up the Death Star, Episode 5 they blow up a bigger Death Star, and then Episode 6 they blow up another Death Star, right? Or is Episode 5 they don't blow up a Death Star? I forget.
Episode 5 they don't. That's The Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
The one where they don't blow up
so
a
Episode
Death
6
Star.
they blow up a bigger Death Star. And So I would say season 3 is like the episode 6 to me, where it's like they just rerun season 1.
What?
With bigger stakes. That's how I felt about it. Now, the Russian stuff did throw an extra twist in, but I mean, in the same way that, like...
This isn't like season 1, because season 1 was the Demogorgon. It's more like season 2, because it's the Mind Flayer.
Well, no, I think it's more like season 1 to me, because they treat it the same way they treated the Demogorgon in season 1, where it's like an external entity that they don't really have any contact with until the end of the season, and then Elle just kind of blows it up.
Well, I feel like it's nice to have me here because, well, I mean, the obvious, I'm me. But secondly, because I am not like either of you in that love you both very much, but I'm not a pretentious critic.
It's true.
I mean that in the best way.
We brought a commoner here,
but y'all can't drift that way. Now, I don't fault you for that, but I just don't do that. Whether I like it's something like Stranger Things that I really, really like and really enjoy, or it's just something that I'm watching for fun. I probably like most of the time I'll like it. If anything, I might be like it's not my favorite, but I'm not gonna like. I usually don't.
You don't analyze it?
Yeah, like pick it up. Like that's just. I don't know. But I thought it was. I think it makes sense a lot in terms of like how not even the build up of all the like the storyline throughout the seasons, but it made a lot of like this starts out, you know, in the first season with just like the Demogorgon. Like we have to get this one thing and like close up the Upside Down, and they don't know anything about it, you know. And then like they learn a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more, and that's how it's supposed to be. And I thought it makes sense.
I will say season 3 has the best character development of all of the seasons, because like they take characters that are almost entirely defined by like one specific thing. Like Elle's the superpowered one, Mike's the one that loves her, Will's the upside down kid, like and they expand upon them, and the only people that really have been expanded upon before are like
Steve,
like what's Will's mom's name? I forget. Joyce.
They didn't expand upon Joyce. Joyce is a one-note character.
He's saying she had already been expanded upon.
In season 2, they expand upon Joyce a little bit with like her relationship with Bob, and then like a little bit of Hopper in season 1, basically, and like I don't know, they were very shallow characters, like, and then I feel like season 3 did a little bit more. It's definitely the best, but I still feel like the characters are kind of just blank slates for the most part.
Joyce is the worst character in the whole show, in my opinion.
I really like Joyce.
No, Joyce does the same thing every season, and I'm like,
Where's my boy? What's wrong with my son?
Where's my boy?
I'm angry about something.
What about the children?
Sticking. No, what I will say, what I will hold to and always hold to is the fact that even in season 1, okay, even when he was still kind of a douche, and we all knew that, but I saw through the hard exterior.
Steve.
That's what she said. To Steve, that he was a gem, that he was a diamond in the rough. And
No, Hopper's a gem.
Oh, that was the dumbest joke you've ever made, and I want to punch your dumb face. That was mean. I'm sorry. Took it too far.
No,
too much too fast.
Steve is probably the best character.
I know.
In the entire
and everybody,
show.
when like season 2 and season 3, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, I love Steve," and I was like,
"Oh, no." I will say, Robin's pretty great. She's giving Steve a run for his money. Robin's good.
Oh no, Robin's great. I think at the end of season 1, I really loved Steve. But I also really thought Jonathan was going to go somewhere good, and they have just completely left his character.
Well, he really kind of was more of a douche during most of the season than season 3, because with everything with Nancy. Granted, I don't like Nancy either, but he was
so bad, and they wrote her to be such a bitch.
Just like and I was like, I do not care about y'all.
Like in season 1, Nancy and Jonathan were so good, and I really liked them. And then in season 2, they were just kind of backseat characters, really. They didn't do much. Like, they went to the reporter or whatever and set him up. But, like, season 3, they're both jerks to everyone. they're jerks to each other. They're jerks to everyone around them. There's like one touching scene where Nancy is talking to her mom. And that's like good, but like that's the only redeemable scene for Nancy.
I will say for that scene though, despite the fact that obviously it was very like, oh, okay, I get what's gonna get. They're gonna have like a heart to heart about, you know, work and just doing what you're supposed to do, yada yada yada. But it was a good like that was. I was like, that's pretty accurate. Like, oh,
they expanded upon Miss Wheeler like a lot in this season. Hang on, no, let me say something.
Nope, I don't want that.
Not just with her about to cheat on her husband with Billy, but also like they gave her like actual depth in the season where she had like that moment where she was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
That was it. That was
then she had the scene with Nancy.
Okay.
And then there was something towards the end. I forget what it was.
I really
like she had like a character.
It was at the fair.
Yeah.
At the fair, she's talking to Joyce. She's out there with her husband and their youngest. Mm-hmm. And like
there was a little bit.
I really liked her because I felt like the way they had set her up was that the family dynamic was that they were disingenuous with each other and as parents kind of disconnected from their children. And in this season, they really set it up to be like, yes, she's not happy with her home life, but she sees family as more important than that, and she's going to fight for it. So I thought it set her up as like a strong role model for Nancy, even though it's not perfect because she's still kind of staying in a bad place and doing things the wrong way in it, I guess. Like she's not a good role model, but like they set her up as someone who fights for what she wants, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just saying at least she's interesting now.
Well, yeah.
She had no interest at all in it.
Well, what I will say is kind of a frustrating, to me at least, just like this is what I think. I don't know about other people, but this is kind of a frustrating double standard in that, okay, so you have whatever her name is, Karen Wheeler,
I don't
right?
know her name.
She's like, what, like late 30s, early 40s?
She's early 40s, definitely.
Early 40s, okay. And then you have, what's his name, Billy, who is probably a little older than most of the high school kids. He's probably
he was supposed to be 19.
19?
I think he's 19.
Now, if you reverse the gender roles on that, you have a 19-year-old girl and like a 40-something-year-old dude, I would be like, this is so, like, I would have I mean, I was already grossed out by it, but like, my point is that
I'm less grossed out by it because Billy's a piece of shit. Even if they do try and redeem him at the end. He is,
but honestly, they really got me. I know that the whole point was just to get me with that, like with the flashbacks with Billy or whatever, but I was like, oh.
Okay, Billy's story is so good, and I'm really happy about that. Like, I feel that his character in season 2 was my favorite character of season 2.
What?
Yes, what? Because he's set up as a good human evil. Like the season 1, the human evil is Dr. Brenner. Is that his name? Who? Papa.
The bad man.
Yeah, the bad man, Papa. And please no. That is the reversal of the roles.
Sorry, I regret saying that.
Papa?
I just want to apologize to anyone, whoever might listen to this.
No,
Trauma.
and that like he's the bad human in season 1, and then in season 2 it's Billy, and like Billy is kind of shown to be like a heartless, racist, like terrible person, and they only show like a few things where it's like, okay, he's got a bad home life, but it doesn't excuse him. And then in season 3, they expand upon like his actual trauma that has caused him to be the way that he is. And it doesn't excuse him, and that's why he has to die.
Well, yeah.
Spoilers at the end of the season, which we've already said.
Spoilers.
And I really think that was the best way to go. I'm sad to see his character go because I love Dacre Montgomery, but
I know.
I didn't know how to say his name.
Yeah, it's Dacre.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's freaking hot.
Time for our
children.
ASMR
Just kidding.
Segment of the podcast, brought on by Zion's weird mouth noise.
I do not like that.
Hello. Now we're gonna talk about Stranger Things.
Oh, can we do the next 5 minutes in this?
No. You're mostly breath over there, Zion. I can't really.
Please, John.
No, stop. Stop.
Like this, okay?
Stop.
I hope you're ready.
For those of you who don't know, John has headphones on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's much worse for him
noise
than it is for
canceling
us.
headphones. So
It's
all
really
I'm getting
intense.
is like your really intense ASMR voices. It's really bad. I don't like it. Please stop. Please stop. That's really obnoxious. Oh gosh. Okay, no, I was gonna ask favorite plot point of season 3.
The Russians.
Is it really the Russians?
Yes. Oh, and also Hopper dying. I respect that they did that. I think that was good.
He's definitely not dead.
He's absolutely. There was like
they better leave him dead. I want him dead.
He's not.
I love Hopper. He's one of my favorites, but like I hope that they.
That's a really interesting relationship dynamic. I love you, but I want you dead.
I understand. Like, it feels it's going to minimize the depth of the season if he comes back, but he will come back. Also, I felt like it was a little bit cheesy that they like get over, like she gets over Bob and is like, yeah, I'm in love with you, and then he dies just like Bob did in the finale. Yeah, it's just like, okay, Joyce.
Joyce is gonna be even more crazy the next season.
Don't date Joyce Byers because you will die in the final episode of the season.
Well, what I will say is that I just want to bring back into question. Don't think anyone was paying attention. I said, weird relationship. I love you, but you need to die. And then David responded, that's how I feel about you. To myself, and that I'm not okay.
How does that make you feel?
I need to call my therapist.
I think you could call Joyce Byers' boyfriends the Joyce Dyers.
You need to talk a little bit closer.
The Joyce Dyers.
No, they heard it. You're not.
Hey, if John opened a bakery, it should be called John Doe.
John Doe.
Or Scoops Ahoy.
That's okay.
So no, my favorite
was Scoop Stroop
thing about the entire season. Please stop.
Shut up, John.
Is Dustin and Steve.
Yeah, it's still solid.
They're great, and I love them together, and I love them together, and I love them together, and I love them together. Oh, and also Nerd Girl. What is her name?
That song was my least favorite thing in the whole season.
Oh yeah, it really drove me crazy.
I mean, I kind of love it. I love that one song mostly because it was like, it just is really funny.
It was stuck in my head for 3 weeks.
It's really funny to see how everybody reacts to it. Some people are like, oh my gosh, it was so cute. It was so weird, but it was funny. And then David's like, I hated it.
It was really annoying.
It's disgusting.
Screwed up the entire flow of the climax. I was like,
that's what she said.
In case
I did do that.
in case anyone listening decided to listen without seeing the season 3, and it's just okay. The spoilers.
We hate you.
What happened is in the is it the season finale episode?
It is.
I think it's the episode before.
Well, it's like at the end of the season when they're like,
at the end of the season, basically, Dustin calls his girlfriend, who you've not seen the whole season that he's been talking about, to get a number called Plague's Constant that they need to unlock something. And he calls her on the radio, and before she gives it to him, she makes him sing Neverending Story theme song with her. And it's like a full-on musical number that takes up 5 minutes of the finale?
Yeah, and they went to like split screens and stuff. It was so weird.
It was really jarring against the rest of the season because it was like, and they're in a big fight scene, darkness all around, never-ending story.
It completely just like killed the tone of everything that they built.
It was just banger.
Like
they did a really good job on it, singing it, but it was really obnoxious.
My complaint with it, yeah.
I know.
What I gotta say is the most heartbreaking moment in the entire season. Not when Hopper died, not any of that. When freaking what's his nuts?
When Will.
No. Alexi.
When Alexi died.
Alexi.
He deserved better.
Did you know that there's a 12-hour YouTube video posted by Netflix of Alexi slurping a Slurpee?
Oh, that poor actor. He had to slurp a Slurpee for 12 hours.
It's really well done. They did VFX. It's a still image, and they just did a VFX shot of his lips. Like
sometimes you just gotta keep really slurping it.
It's really well done.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
You planned that.
You planned that. That's what she said.
No, what I thought was sadder was the whole thing with like Will like still wanting to hang out like they did when they were little, and then Mike was like, "Not my fault, you're gay." And then
that was really good.
Wait,
I like that part.
No,
he said it's not. He said it's not my fault you don't like girls.
Oh,
yeah,
which was like a
Man, I really actually thought they might build on that more this season. Because there were like questions about that, and people were like, "Ooh, I bet Will's gonna be gay." But then
Noah Schnapps has said that
Schnapp.
That's what I said.
She said schnapps.
It's an alcohol, so it may have been a slip.
Noah Schnapps.
It's schnapp.
He's said that his character is not gay. He's just childish and wants to hold on to the things of his youth, which I think was a really good like character development for him. Like the whole tearing down Castle Byers. I thought it was really sad, and I thought it hit home a lot for that character. I did think he was being a little bit obnoxious, but, then again...
David's raising his hand.
Maybe he's not gay. Maybe he's Will Byers.
Ooh.
Yeah, see?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask, how do we feel about Robin being gay?
That was a good plot twist, because I did not see that coming at all.
I think she should be murdered.
Whoa, people are gonna not
Take
like
that
stay.
out of
Yeah, they're
context.
not gonna stay for like the explanation and just be like, "I'm out." These homophobes.
Then I won't explain it.
I really like that. I think
David's not horrible or homophobic. He just was being weird.
I think that it's one of the best like gay characters in TV that I've ever seen, because they do not throw it in your face. They literally don't even tell you until like third to last episode. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and then they don't mention it again. It's just kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
And I think her friendship with Steve is great.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I really appreciate that they made it so that like Steve and her are like really close friends after that, even though like...
Yeah. Man, poor freaking Steve though. Not at all because I'm like putting like fault on her, like, oh, poor Steve should have, like, not at all like that, but like poor Steve that he liked Nancy, and then Nancy was, well, the worst, and he was like, okay, done with that. And then, well, he wasn't, but you know what I mean.
He was the worst at that point too.
Yeah,
though.
He was not as the worst as she was. He's an angel and he can do no wrong. That's not true, but he's an angel.
Not true.
He's an angel.
In the first season, he does a lot of wrong, although arguably Jonathan actually does more wrong than him.
Jonathan's Nancy's the living worst.
Nancy's the worst. Poor Barb. Justice for Bob.
Oh, that's
Barb
another thing. I don't really care about Barb. I never freaking cared about Barb. Like, she was fine. She was a good character. I didn't dislike her. But then everyone's like, oh my gosh, Justice for Barb. And I was like,
honestly, the only reason I care about Barb is because it's a loose end that they've not really tied up. And it's driven me crazy. Because they show her. She's not dead. Hmm? No.
She was dead in the Upside Down.
I'm pretty sure she was dead. It was, I thought.
She was taken after Will, and you're telling me that, and she's bigger and older than Will, and you're telling me that Will survived in the cocoon thing and she did not?
That's a fair point. But no, but it shows her body.
It shows Will's body too, but they extract a thing out of him and take him back.
But she's, I don't know.
Maybe their point was that she was dead, but it didn't feel like conclusive to me. It felt like they just kind of left her there.
Oh, one thing I think they should have done, and it kind of bugged me that they didn't do, was there was a whole thing with like the mind flayer and the flayed and all that stuff. They should have made it more like they don't know who's been flayed. Yeah. Like there could have been like an aspect of like, oh, who has he gotten?
And more of a mysterious, like,
yeah, that could have been interesting.
Not knowing who the villain is.
Yeah, like if one of them had been flayed or something. Like maybe Lucas.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
Oh, okay. I have a really... How did you guys feel about the new Coke product placement segment?
I don't care.
You got to be way closer than that, Zion. You got to be like right up next to it.
I didn't even understand that like product placement thing. I didn't get it.
The new.
I mean, like thing? I know what you're talking about, but I was like,
so new Coke was only available for, I think it was 2 years, 1 year, and it was basically what Coke is now, with just like fake sugars and stuff, and people hated it. It was sweeter. It's basically what Coke is now. It's not technically. They still have the recipe and it's different, but it was basically what Coke is now. But they introduced it all at once, but people hated it. So that was the whole thing. It was kind of a joke about that, but I really hated it because it was just like, this is a very serious moment. And now Lucas is going to drink a new Coke and say new Coke 5 times in the next 3 minutes.
I don't care.
I'm sorry to abandon you there,
it was
but
much less jarring.
It was way
Story.
more jarring than Neverending Story.
Was it?
Yes, it was. That at least made sense with the plot.
No one's gonna start singing with you.
I don't remember the words or the tune actually. So but I can do the theme.
I will not be singing it.
Zion hasn't actually seen the.
That's a different thing. And you are ruining my moment. That was my musical moment. You took it from me, and that. Yeah.
I didn't realize how similar they were until you did that.
What is that from? I don't remember.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, all of the Netflix like show theme songs are great. Like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, they're all great. Those are all Marvel, but like
I haven't
Dark,
gotten into any of those.
Dark, The Rain has a pretty good one. They're all pretty good.
I'm trying to think.
So,
I think everyone who's listening to this
disease
knows that joke.
Disease. Is that Basil?
This has nothing to do with Stranger Things, and if someone listens to this and doesn't know what we're talking about,
not gonna know. David can explain it. Google, go to YouTube and search
The Goblin.
Jack and Dean. That is an iconic video.
It is great.
Basil, give me the Bible. Give me the
Bible. Oh man.
Oh, I thought
I
it was.
Watch that again.
Yeah, dude.
I thought it was really weird that
it's been too long.
All of the radios are kind of treated like phones in season 3.
Yeah,
they don't really like have to press the button. At one point, they have the button taped down, and they're still getting incoming, like radio messages, which is not how radios work. And
I don't pay enough attention.
Maybe they're nerds who have figured out how to make them better.
See, that would. With Dustin's radio, that would make sense, but that's not how it is. That's not how those types of things work.
Would you let
It doesn't matter. And the Avengers, they just talk to each other without earpieces or anything when they're in different parts of the city.
That drives me crazy. Zion, our musical guest.
Why are you here? Why did we let you on this podcast?
Good question. That's a really, dig on your judgment right there.
Okay, I have a bunch of notes, but I feel like we've touched most of them. Oh, I was going to say, Hopper's character development seems to be the same every season. Like, it restarts from the beginning. Like, season 1, he's like, I don't give a shit. And then he gets a little girl in his life and is like, I gotta figure this out. And then season 2, it's like, I don't know how to do this and don't give a shit. And then he's like, I gotta learn to love this little girl. And then season 3, it's like, I don't know how to give a shit. But then at the end, he's like, I know how to love, and I wrote this precious note for you. And it's like, it starts over at the beginning every season.
Well, I will say with Hopper, his whole, like, I get that I don't fault his character for this, but it reminded me a lot of things a lot of people do when their kids are in relationships, especially when, like in Hopper's case, when you have a daughter that's in a relationship with a kid, with a guy, boy, whatever you want to call it.
Animal.
When you have a daughter who's in a relationship with a boy.
I don't want them to be in a relationship. And if they do something, the couple together do something you don't like, then they're like, oh, it's him. He's corrupting her. You know, he's doing all da, 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 da. Or like, you know what I mean.
No, I thought you said, Tim, he's corrupting her. And then I just started thinking of Timmy Jackson.
Not what I meant, but okay. And like, oh man, this is getting too much. We're drifting into things that I'm really passionate about, and I'm just gonna go on and on. So I'm just gonna chop it up here.
I thought they did a good job with him in this season. Like, I really liked the whole thing with like him not knowing how to react and like trying his best to like do it the right way, and then just breaking and like getting really mad at Mike, and then like actually having written out the sweetest, most like best parent note ever. Like, I thought that was really good. I just feel like he starts over at the beginning of every season, and like in the next season when he comes back, which he obviously will, he's gonna start over again, and I'm really sad about that.
That letter at the end, though, I cried. I shed tears. Okay.
I did. Oh. I did not for the letter. I did for Billy's whole story arc for both the last 2 episodes.
It was so that hurt.
I shed literal tears for those because it's so well done.
I shed no tears for the entire show. All my tears are reserved for Coco. It rhymed. Whoa.
I know.
I loved all of the scenes with Hopper and then Carrie Ellis, who was playing. What's the name of the mayor?
I don't remember.
Keep wanting to say it's like Tom, but it's not.
It was so weird that Carrie Ellis was playing that part, though.
Was it like
yeah,
Jean?
It was kind of. It was shocking because he just showed it, and I was like, "Wait, what the heck, Wesley? Is that you, Wesley?"
What was it? Was his name Gene or something?
No, it was like a normal name.
Ted? No, Ted is what's his name? Mr. Wheeler.
Tim.
Ted.
Tim.
Ted.
It's Tim. He's corrupted.
Larry Klein.
Larry. Yeah, that's a very normal name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, why would you ever? Why, Larry?
Did it strike you as odd that Max goes from being like a tomboy to being like very girly in this season?
Girl?
She like goes from being like a tomboy who rides a skateboard to being like this girly girl who goes shopping at the mall.
A pretty bad influence on Elle in terms of being like, this is how you should be if you have a quote unquote boyfriend. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, she's not the best. I feel like they kind of advanced her character arc like a lot off screen. It feels like she went through like a bunch of like character building between seasons that we don't get to see, and it felt a little bit awkward at first because it was like this character who I know is the shut up, I'm not anyone's bitch, like do my own thing, all of a sudden is like, hey, let's go shopping and get pretty stuff. And I was like, what the fuck?
I like to do both of I can be both of those things.
Well,
to be
sure,
fair.
but they didn't set her up for that. They set her up as the girl who wore jeans and a tattered t-shirt and rode a skateboard to school. Like,
I think there was a lot of that at the beginning of the season with Max, with Hopper, with other people.
Other people?
Yeah, I can't think of. Somewhat Dustin.
I mean, he was basically the same.
Steve. Steve was sad and pathetic at the beginning of the season for some reason.
Steve has always been sad and pathetic when it comes to women.
Steve is everything I ever wanted, and I don't want to hear any more negative things about him.
Well, no, that's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
It's just like he's always been that kind of pathetic kind of guy with women. It's just that at one point he was like the popular kid, so it didn't really make a difference. Like, because like he was the cool kid basically because he like was the most like party-ish kind of guy.
David just winked at me in a sensual manner.
Well,
and
Zion, you're licking the microphone. So
I am not.
You're like, which is really obnoxious.
That's for ASMR purposes. That's not just something I do.
This podcast has gone off the rails in weird ways that I did not expect at all.
What did you think was gonna happen?
Here comes Speed Racer.
Speaking of Speed Racer, the guy who plays Speed Racer in the movie was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He was?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I really want to see that.
It was
You have to see it. I've seen it 3 times. It's really good.
Frick. No, what did make the scene where
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, not Speed Racer.
Maya, that's her real name, but
That's
where Robin and Steve are high and they're in the movie theater, that definitely made me think of John Mulaney.
Maya Hawke is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, by the way.
Yeah. Like for a little bit.
So wait, that is about like it, or I don't know if it's about it, but it does involve like some of the what's his name?
Quentin Tarantino?
No, serial killer.
Charles Manson.
Yes.
Yeah, it involves like that and his cult, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
is it about that primarily, or does that just
no, it's kind of
well at the end it kind of is.
It's hard to explain without spoiling the movie because it doesn't touch on it until the end.
I kind of wish that you didn't want to see it because then we could talk about the end of it.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I am gonna go see is It Chapter 2. Oh, well, I'm gonna go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I have not seen It Chapter 1. I need to. I don't feel like seeing It Chapter 2 in theaters. I don't know. I haven't decided how I feel about that yet.
Zion, this podcast does not condone horror movies. We think it's satanic.
I think your face is...
Didn't we talk about horror movies like 3 episodes ago?
I don't know. I've hardly seen any horror movies, so I don't know how we would have done that.
David, can we sing a lullaby
well, I talked about thrillers
in ASMR form to our listeners at this point?
We've beat that joke into the ground. Oh, wait, hang on. If it's the Martin Clune song, we can.
I don't know.
Hey, guys, go to Vimeo.
No, David, everyone's gonna... No.
Everyone's
Everyone's gonna think that you're horrible.
No, it's not good.
Don't.
We have like 60 listeners now?
Actually, no, what you should look up is that, what is the one? Operator? Information. Give me Jesus on the line. How did they look that up?
Search for Stairway to Stardom.
Specific?
And I forget the name of the specific video. I just know the thumbnail. Here, I can look it up and then I'll tell you. Y'all keep talking.
About
me and how great I am.
Aw, David. Did we miss David? I miss David.
I miss David a lot.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. How I've been gone for a month.
Yeah,
and all
David's
the things
been
I did.
gone. He was in jail. That's not funny. I shouldn't say that.
No, that's really funny, and because it's true. He was in jail for a month. It's funny because
it's true.
He went away for money laundering. They really don't put you in jail for very long for that, apparently. So 1 month.
Hey,
it wasn't. Much.
I served my nickel. You come and take me.
Was it the one where they like give you video games and all that shit, or was it like like a real prison where you're there with like murderers and shit?
Whoa, hang on. They changed what comes up whenever you search Stairway to Stardom on YouTube because now there's a bunch of Asian stuff.
Weird.
What's it called?
Okay, it is called Stairway to Stardom (parentheses 1981 close parentheses hyphen Gloria Huddle quotes operator close quotes.
Yeah, search that. I'm serious. So what we have acquired this episode that you need to search for are that Stairway to Stardom. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And Goblin. Is that what it's called? Goblin.
Yeah.
Goblin. Jack and Dean. Jack and Dean.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Just look up Jack and Dean Goblin. You'll find it.
So both of those. That's your homework for this week. Please
the
come back
Martin
next week.
How great it's not a weekly podcast. It's a monthly podcast.
Monthly. That's it. That's your assignment for this month.
She's not a real fan.
If you come back.
Hashtag fake fan. Speaking of real fans, there was a new trailer for the Playmobil movie.
Oh yeah.
For the what?
The Playmobil movie.
So a recurring. Have we talked about? I think we have.
I think we talked about it at least once. At least once.
So something that's come back is John and I are hotly anticipating the release of Playmobil movie
with great stars
such as
let me pull up Playmobil.
Jim Gaffigan for one. I remember that.
Jim Gaffigan, Kenan Thompson,
Trainer?
Help me.
Megan Trainor, Daniel Radcliffe, Adam Lambert, and Gabriel Bateman.
I don't feel safe.
In the Playmobil movie.
How
did they do that?
I don't know. Oh, and Anna Taylor-Joy, who I don't know who that is, but she's on that list.
She sounds famous. She has 3 names.
Just like
Let's see, what is she in?
No, you don't.
She's in Split and The Witch and Glass.
Oh,
and
I
New
know
Mutants.
exactly who that is. She's the girl in Split who gets kidnapped.
Yes, that's the one. That's the girl.
Weird.
Small side note, my leg hair is getting too long. I need to shave it.
Gross.
How many listeners do we have
okay,
now?
you don't get to say that. You don't get to say that's like the dudes that complain about girls who don't shave their armpits.
I'm not saying
like,
that your hair is gross.
And I'm like, you think that girls see dudes' armpit hair and are like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. Like we don't.
Zion, I'm not saying that,
I did think
having hairy legs is gross. I'm saying that talking about shaving them on the podcast is gross.
I'm gonna shave my legs.
Me too.
I do think that girls look at guys' armpit hair with lust, and they think, damn.
This is so weird. This is the weirdest podcast we've recorded yet.
This is a gross place to live.
Let's take it to an even weirder place.
Oh,
and talk about
that's what
me
she
dressing
said.
up like a pirate in Chicago.
Please, you were waiting to tell me this story.
Okay. The day began. Me, all the other missionaries, we were split into 3 teams, and my team dressed up like pirates. There's a team that dressed up like disco dancers, and there's a team that dressed up like knights from Monty Python. And we had to go into Chicago, spend 5 hours there, in character the entire time. And it was so much fun. Started off, we got on the metro heading into the city, and we were doing our pirate thing, going, arg, ahoy, all that stuff. And people started filming us because we were being funny and stuff. I was yelling at people, give me oranges, I have scurvy. I'm dying of dysentery. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to be close to you now.
And then,
you can't catch scurvy. You can catch dysentery.
You can. Stay away unless you want to die.
Of violent diarrhea. Continue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so then people started filming us because we were being funny doing our pirate thing. And then a man with like probably 3 teeth comes up to me and he just starts telling me facts about pirates for the entire metro ride. And they were like really depressing facts about like how many people they would rape and stuff.
I don't like that.
And I'm trying to be like cool about it, so I'm just going, arg, ahoy, aye matey, things like that. And
seems strange.
Where's the treasure? And then this lady who's filming us starts getting really mad at this guy. She starts going, excuse me, can you get out of my video? And he's like making like snide remarks back to her. And then she's like, I'm not fucking around. And then
wow, this video was really serious.
Yeah.
She was going to try and win an Oscar with that.
So then it's getting like
she was like, this is my material and you're screwing it up.
It's just going through the roof at this point. They're like yelling at each other. And at this point, as a pirate, I was thinking about the statistic where most deaths per capita in the country are in Chicago.
Yep.
Like murders.
Highest gun death as well.
This is how I'm going to die. On a Chicago metro, dressed as a pirate, killed by a person who is trying to video me, and a man with no teeth.
That is the way to go.
If I do say so myself, that sounds like a very pleasant way to leave this world behind.
It would make a good obituary.
I just want to say that I really appreciate that whole activity and that day, and that David was doing missions work, but that was totally like there was no reason. There was literally none.
No, okay.
There was no objective.
The way they explained it was, well, it was a scavenger hunt. We had like things we had to do.
You did not say that to me. You just said we had to dress up as these things and go and be in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
which is there was
we had
no
things
point.
We had to do. We had a list of challenges. So one of them was to take our prisoner. We had a guy who was from Germany who was dressed up like a prisoner, and we took him around on a leash, and it was super funny. And he'd just start talking to people on the side of the street like he was asking for help, but in German.
Kinky.
Oh, we know. we were all thinking it. John just... He said it.
I just broke the silence.
All right. Good night, my sweet babies.
That's not kinky.
I love you.
And
I'll snuggle with you in your dreams.
I really don't know what's happening in this episode, Zion.
Zion is never coming back on.
That's for the best. I'm gonna come into your house at night.
That's what she said.
Snuggle. Okay, this is the end.
That's what she said.
Okay. No, so we had to... What was I even talking about?
You were talking about what you had to do with the pirates.
Yeah, what we had to do with the prisoner. So we had to take the prisoner and hand the leash to someone and ask them to watch the prisoner for 2 minutes while we go to pee. So then I made this whole story where I was like, can you watch our prisoner? We've been at sea for 5 weeks and we're too self-conscious to pee in front of him. So can you just like hold him? Because we've been holding it for all that time.
Hold him in your arms.
Hold me in
And it was a very
arms.
tough sell. Very few people wanted to do that. So we went into a 7-Eleven.
No way.
And we just left him with the person at the counter. We handed the man the leash and just walked off.
So did he just speak German at them the whole time?
Yes.
That's awesome.
But everything we did, we videoed. Because they made like a compilation video of it, which I need to find. And there were just 2 straight minutes of him just standing there speaking to him in German.
That's
awesome. It was so funny.
That poor person.
We had to form a Congo line in the middle of the street next to a street performer. We did that.
That sounds like a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, there was an old lady who was like trying to feel my friend's biceps.
Ooh.
Yeah, because he was like muscular and stuff, and he was wearing only a vest. Well, he had pants. Pants and a vest because he was a pirate. And yeah, she was trying to feel him up. So that was weird. We had to ask someone where they think Donald Trump hides his treasure.
Oddly political.
And then this guy paused for a weird amount of time. And then, after thinking about it for quite a while, he goes, up his ass.
Oh, okay, ass, but I was going to say
and then
butt, but whatever.
One of my friends went, and Melania is the only one who'll be digging up there.
We're supposed to be children of the Lord.
We are.
They're married, so it's okay.
David and his friend are married?
No, Melania.
I'm married to Melania.
Okay, because...
Yeah, David and Melania are married. Who's Melania?
Melania Trump?
No, the other Melania, the one you're married to.
Melania Trump.
Well, obviously not, since she's married to Donald.
I think this has to be...
There was a whole thing with Stormy Daniels, so then they got divorced, but they haven't told anyone. And now I'm married to Melania. And I am rich and married to a model who barely speaks English. I'm living a good life.
End my suffering. Please.
We were walking past a restaurant, and there were people they had like tables outside on the sidewalk. So then I started asking people for their bread from their table to feed to the prisoner because we hadn't fed him in a month. We sold the prisoner for a free Jersey Mike sub coupon. And then he started walking off with them, and we let him spend like 10 minutes with them. They gave him beer. He's 18, but he's from Germany, so it's okay because they're allowed to drink it there.
Okay. It's not really how that works, but okay.
It's legal in his home country, so it should be legal here for him.
That's not how it works, but I understand what you're saying.
A lot of things that should be a certain way, that doesn't mean they are.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, so then we eventually stole him back from them with our swords. We put them at the point of swords and stole him, saying that the coupon was expired.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
It was a good day. It was a really good day. It ended with a giant dance number with the Knights and the Pirates having a big sword fight next to the Bean in downtown Chicago. And then we all died. And then all the disco dancers came in and they picked us up. And then we just had a giant dance number and everyone was filming us. There were like 300 people watching. And then we ran off and got into 3 minivans and drove away.
Creepy.
So for them, it was probably really weird.
Creepy.
The disco team did better than my team, even though my team was funnier, because people asked them to get on their party bus that was empty and dance, and they were filming a promotional video for their bus, so the people who owned the party bus were trying to reward them, and because the day that we were there, Lollapalooza was going on, they gave them all tickets to Lollapalooza, which are $130 a piece. There were 6 of them. So they all got into Lollapalooza. Then they got onto a stage that had no one on it at the time. They managed to like sneak up there and they started just dancing. They had a disco ball on a fishing rod. So like it was in the middle of them hanging, and they had a giant speaker playing the Bee Gees, and then a bunch of people like started crowding around and watching them dance at Lollapalooza. Then they got kicked off the stage and thrown out of Lollapalooza.
Of course.
That's probably for the best.
They had a good run though. That's pretty solid.
That is good. That is really good.
They called themselves the Boogie Boys. Yeah, it was.
Ooh. Just knocked into the dang microphone.
Yeah. So that was that day. That's all I have to share as far as that goes.
This is great.
This is a petition to rename the podcast. This is a gross place to live.
Are you belittling John's apartment?
No, I was. It was referring. It was a bit. I was referring to something. Never mind.
You're not allowed to do bits. Shut up, Zion. Haha. I just tell people to shut up, not just John.
Petition to stop the like reusing bits that are really not that funny.
No, I'm hilarious.
What about bacon bits? Can you reuse bacon bits?
What does that even fucking mean?
We'll leave you with that thought to enjoy.
Yeah,
we're leaving now.
We probably. I don't think we have anything else to say, do we?
I'm a gold mine of comedy, not in the way that Donald Trump is a gold mine for Melania, in a different way. Don't go up my butt, please.
No.
That's what she said.
I'm just ending it. I'm ending it now. Okay.
Good.
Technically, we're almost to an hour.
Bye. I love you.
Bye. I love you.
What's your favorite color? My name's Taylor.